Excellent. It's so good to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it. So let's begin our journey with what I kind of touched on, which was COVID. 5 years ago, it changed our lives. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you live in 2025?
Well, I did the opposite. I quit my job the day before COVID started. Like
Wow.
my job that I've been working for 10 years. I was like, I have had enough. This is my limit. I'm just doing too much. My company grew 3x in 24 months. And while I enjoyed being indispensable, I was like, this is not the life I want.
Yeah.
So a bunch of companies were hiring, and there was a company that's a state away that said, "Hey, you can work from home." And I looked at it and I was like, "Wow, this is like an opportunity I can't refuse." But it what turned out to be a disaster because they told me I could work from home, but no one worked from home. It was one of those unspoken rules. I'm doing the bunny ears, the air quotes.
Yeah.
No one worked from home. So I found myself in a new job with this awesome pay, awesome visibility, but I had to travel like a state. It was an hour and 20 minutes without traffic each way. So
Yes.
it was kind of like a reckoning. Like, is this what you really want to do with your life?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I came to what I do is I burned out and I was like, I got to take a sabbatical.
Yeah.
So I took a sabbatical and all of my coworkers were like, where's that bubbly girl, Sophia? Where is she? And so I started mentoring and offering advice because I didn't want other people to burn out. So yeah, COVID really did a number on me in ways I didn't imagine.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If I put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds right now at career day, and one of the kids in the back of the room wanted to know what you did for a living, how would you answer them?
I teach professionals to love their hobbies more than they love their job.
Okay. So what did you want to be at 12? What was your dream job?
I wanted to be a history professor actually, because
Wow.
I have this insane memory. I can just remember things like that. But history professors, that's a lot of school. You don't really get paid until you reach tenure. So I switched to finance because you can memorize formulas and kind of do the same thing.
So what was your revolution? Take me back to your beginnings. You mentioned Texas. What were the foundational elements that made you love history, want to teach, and to eventually get to this coaching point?
Okay, so I grew up with my grandparents.
Okay.
So, like every grandparent, they have stories upon stories. And I would just memorize these stories and I would help my grandpa add more to the story. You forgot this part, so on and so forth. So that's how I enjoyed history because I found it was just the same thing as my grandpa's stories. It felt like similar, so similar. But again, I couldn't study that long term because I was like, man, how do I really get paid quickest? Because, when you're young, it's all about making money,
Uh-huh.
being the best you can be and proving it fairly quickly. And so I went to a school in DC and all they talked about was finance careers, marketing careers. And I was like, who gets paid more? Let's go with the finance route. So,
Yeah.
and again, it's like memorizing formulas, memorizing how the financial statements look. I was like, okay, this is something I can do. So that's how I kind of got started there.
So when you talk about having a good memory, there's this idea of nature and nurture. How much of it is nature? How much of it is nurture? Is it a savant thing that's going on? How does it work?
How does it work? I don't know. Like you can tell me, I can meet you one time and you can tell me your birthday and your dog's name, and I may not see you for 10 years and I'll say, hey, how's your dog Paco doing? And you're like, oh, actually he died. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know how I remember it, but I just do. And I remember names as well, like names, what just those types of things. It's so
Yeah.
odd. And no one in my family is like this. So,
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So my son's on the spectrum and he had a friend for a while and she would remember the actual day of the week that your birthday was on for like 2 years. So you would go up to her and you would be like, I would say October 13th, and she'd be like Tuesday. And then another person would be like, boom. And she would just look up and look right down. She would do it in a second.
oh
And
wow.
I talked to her parents and they were like, she would just memorize the calendar. She would just go through. And
Wow.
those things that happen in our brains
Yeah,
just absolutely are intriguing.
I would
Um,
agree. Mm.
so as a history buff, if you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see one event in human history, you wouldn't create a tear in time. You just witness it happen. Where would you go?
Can it be something that I've seen already that I want to
Yeah,
see again?
totally. That's
I
cool.
would say it was when Obama got elected. Like when all of the votes came in from the Electoral College. I don't it was 2008. I remember being in the middle of Chicago. We had radios
Wow.
because like we no one could get close enough to the screen and all that. And some
Yeah.
of my friends had radios and I was like, man, this is like a throwback.
Yeah.
Like who has a radio? So we're just sitting there listening like on the grass in between buildings of his acceptance speech and all of that. So
Wow.
I thought that was pretty epic.
That would be unreal to be in that
Yeah.
energy because that night, that was the first time I think politically I ever cried. Like I couldn't stop. I just couldn't believe that we were finally getting not only this leader that was
Yeah.
gonna bring, but we just went through all of that hell of 8 years. I mean, it was like there was so much going on, and little did
Yeah.
we know what we would be doing right now.
I know. But also there was so much optimism, like
Yes.
unified optimism. And how
Yes.
often do you get that? You
I
don't.
know.
And it
I
was
know.
beautiful. Oh, I could go
Yeah.
back. I'm getting chills kind of thinking about that.
It's amazing. And, I remember he came to Kansas City and my son was 3 at the time. And I remember I took him down in the stroller and I watched him and I just kept sitting there and he was in between all these people and I was like, there he is. And I think we had to leave a little early. And when we left, you could just hear Obama's voice boom because it was at Liberty Memorial. So it was at this weird confluence. So it was right over the hill looking over downtown. And I could just hear his voice booming
Yeah.
over downtown. And I was like,
Oh,
how cool is that?
oh,
It was the best. Absolutely the best.
yeah. I'll always remember where I was. Yes.
We,
So
it,
2008, not that far away, but
Right. And we need those times right now to wash away what's happening because it's just not okay for a lot of us, you
yeah,
know?
agreed, agreed, agreed. And it's so easy to forget what we're capable of.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of goes into what I do. It's like so often women are so burned out, or just teams are so burned out that they're stuck in this small vortex
Yeah.
and they forget what they're capable of. They forget that they do have choices. They forget they do have a voice. So yes, I just feel like it all relates.
But I think the part of coaching and getting to this point in our lives is that we have all these things. We have relationships, we have kids, we have jobs, we have all these things, and it just buries down. And you almost need the metal detector, the coach, to come through and say, this is where the jewel is. So, as somebody that does that for others, what was the moment where you knew coaching was it? That this career transition was the right choice?
I would say it was like my first paid coaching client. I'm talking to her and like she's having like all of these aha moments, right? I'm asking her just questions, just basic questions like how did that make you feel? Why was that your choice at the moment? Like just asking that. And at first she was quiet. So Sarah was quiet. She was just like, uh-huh, uh-huh. And I'm like, Is this hurt a little bit? She was like, no, these are the questions I need to be asking myself, but I've never taken the time to do it. And it was just kind of like this epiphany. And I'm like, okay, for me, it felt like a warm cookie. You bite into a warm cookie
Huh?
inside. That's how it felt in my heart. I was like, this is what I'm called to do. It's just to ask the questions, to be there in the moment. Because often I feel like we wait for our managers to do it for us. We wait on senior leaders. We wait on our spouses to tap us on the shoulder, but we forget who we are in the mirror.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to Sarah, just in general, I was just like, tell me where your hobbies are. And she's like, my projects, my deliverables, wiping noses, wiping butts. And I'm like, whoa, wait, wait, wait.
Yeah.
Let's rewind a little bit here. I'm pressing the button, the invisible button on the video recorder. Who were you before that? What did you enjoy as a
Yeah.
teenager? Yeah, and she's like, wow, I never thought about it that way. So it's having those aha moments. And it's very simple questions, but we never make the time. We talked about COVID. We never make the time to stop and ask ourselves because this world is so fast packed, so fast paced, 24-hour news cycle, go, 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 go.
Yeah.
It's not about thinking and recollecting, it's being more productive and getting more things done. It's like, wait, let's pause. Let's
Yeah.
come back to who we are.
I love how you said that too, of embracing the hobbies more than the job, because at the end of the day, everybody's hopefully going to get to the point where they retire. And I hear these people whenever I'm like, what are you going to do in retirement? I don't know. Watch a lot of TV. I couldn't imagine. No, 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 no. Like there's got to be levels. Like when you're a kid, you got all these things that you do. You fill your day with just like, what do you want to do? Tapping into your true essence. And it's like when you become an adult, people don't know what to do. They just don't know how to function if they don't have officious things to do with their lives, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
bad.
completely agree. Completely agree. Plus, it's like as soon as you become an adult, you're kind of forced into the workforce. You're kind of, or forced at least into a 9 to 5,
Yeah,
that type of thing. And we've been taught that there's no more play. There's no more fun. It's make that paycheck, make your boss happy, bring home the bacon, quote unquote. I love these air quotes. I have to stop doing air quotes. Bring home the bacon
yeah,
and just keep it moving.
yeah,
And we never make time. It's small sacrifices, honestly, that we make along the way. We stop hanging out with our friends so much, or our friends get married, and there isn't kind of like that Sunday football that we
yeah,
would always do, or the huge Super Bowl party that we would all hang out with. It's kids' birthday parties or spouses we don't like,
yeah,
right? It's not a joint effort to have fun. And
yeah,
that's what we need to get back to.
yeah,
So that way your hobbies are your focus because they light you
absolutely.
up.
Yeah. And then you realize your life's gone. You're like, what did I do? Dumping all of this time into somebody else's world when you have your own. It's like you just kind of lose your identity. So let me ask you this. If you can meet anybody on the planet right now that embodies that ideal of what they love to do, but they work, they're inspirational, who would you love to meet and spend a little time with?
Oh, that is so hard. I mean, because I the only thing I can think of is kind of like athletes. I'm thinking of Serena
Yeah.
because that was her job, and somehow she found a way to make it fun,
Yeah.
right? Because who was that? It was a tennis player. Was it not her name started with the N? Naomi. She tapped out, right? Because she said tennis wasn't fun anymore. So
Uh-huh.
I feel like somehow Serena found a good balance for a while to make
Yeah.
it fun.
Yeah.
So I would say, how did she make it fun? How did she make that her job? You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
still profitable. Because honestly, if you ask me my hobby, my favorite hobby is to roller skate.
Okay. There you go.
Four wheels outside,
Yep.
just feeling the wind between my hair, my face, and cranking in old tunes in my earbuds.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 13 again.
Yeah. That's it. That's
Yeah,
exactly it. Yeah. I mean, I think about I mean, like even with Obama, for instance, like he's out playing basketball, he's going to games, he's doing all these things, he travels. Like there's a lot of these things that preserve who you are and make you younger. Like, I mean, I know his hair's gray, but he
yeah,
still looks like he's not like what
yeah.
you get these presidents that have been in there for 8 years and they look like they went through things,
They did.
right? But I think there's certain people that can just hold it together. They have this variety. And yeah, it's amazing. So let me ask you this. What is the motivation for you every day to wake up to do this work that you do? Because you have to dig into heavy things with your clients, but you
Yeah,
also have
yeah.
to cultivate your own sense of self. What's that energy? What gets you up when that alarm clock goes off in the morning?
I like to activate others. I'm a ball of energy.
Yeah,
And just I like to awaken other people to choices that they have. Granted, everyone has choices in life. Some people don't have as many choices as others, but you do have choices. And I just feel like today is a gift. Let me remind you what your choices are. So I wake up activated. I'm like, hey, let's do this because I want more. I mean, this is self-serving, but I want more diverse voices at the table, right?
yeah,
And if these diverse voices burn out before we get there, or we don't know how to lead ourselves without burning out, right? Lead ourselves first, find our hobbies first, find a good balance between work and life. Honestly, it should be life work, but that's a whole nother story.
yeah,
The world, it's hard for the world to become a better place, right?
yeah,
You kind of have to start from the bottom up and get us there. So I just feel activated. I want to tell more people about it. I want to help more people realize that it is possible. And again, I focus on tiny pivots, tiny steps, tiny ways to do that. I don't want you to blow up your life. I just want you to take lunch away from your screen.
yeah,
Like that's possible. I want you to have a water break. I don't
yeah,
want you to have to beg for a bio break. I want you to plan it in your day before you get started because that's how you keep going.
yeah. It's interesting you were talking about athletes and meeting them and kind of getting in there. I remember one time 2 years ago, I went to the last day of training camp for the Chiefs. And
Okay.
for some reason that day, I really honed in on Patrick Mahomes. And half of me was like, this is the most popular athlete on the planet right now. And I just want to watch his body language because they didn't have pads on. They were just kind of goofing around, doing some basic stuff. And that dude moved around all over the place and talked to everyone, the water guy, the equipment guy, other people, ribbing them, throwing the ball, throwing it behind his back, doing all this stuff. And
Yeah.
it was just like watching a dog. a happy dog. His tail was just, and it's like if you really watch people, like I watch sports with the volume off because I can read lips and I get a better sense. I know who's really upset. I know who's really like genuine about what they're doing. Because I'll watch, like, for instance, with the Chiefs, like Chris Jones, he's in a zone, but he'll get over there. And if he's not happy, he's going to electrify you. And it's kind of the same thing with Patrick. Like, I'll watch him, like what he's saying after they lose the lead or they get the lead.
Yeah.
Like, there's all of these things that you can see with people because most of our communication habits are 60 to 70% are nonverbal.
Yeah.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I guess my point is that I'll look at some of these people like Patrick, like how has he gotten to this point where he still loves to do what he does? Because he's successful because he at the end of the day he loves to play football. He loves to
Yeah.
play this sport. All of the commercials and all of that other stuff is another thing, but you can watch these people like Venus and Serena. You can see that they love what they do. And even that backstory, just that the two kids from the same house become the best tennis players in the
Yeah.
world. It's crazy, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can kind of see that. So I guess with that being said, how fast are you with reading people with your clients when they come in and having a decent bead before you even talk to them to know what
Oh,
they
I would
might
say,
need?
yeah, I would say within 5 minutes, I know if transformation will happen
Yeah,
or if we're just going to spend our time together with you kicking and screaming.
gotcha.
Because you can tell by the language that people use or how they label situations, right? Like, oh, that was the worst job ever. I made a mistake. Wait, okay, well, can we talk about what you learned?
Yeah.
Can we talk about like how you will show up differently tomorrow?
Hmm.
Like asking those questions, you're like, oh man, we got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
I even try to be the example, like, using different words. Because typically, when you coach, you're supposed to mirror exactly the words that they use. But sometimes I try to lighten it up
Yeah.
and say, like, man, that was such a learning experience. Wasn't it amazing?
Yeah. Let me ask you this. How long did it take for you to get that client that was really difficult that you thought there wasn't going to be a breakthrough and it ended up being a breakthrough that allowed you to grow and allowed you to get them to the place they needed to be? Did you have a moment like that early on?
Yeah, yeah. I almost had to fire a client
Oh,
because she would not comply. I'm like, Lindsay, you are telling me that you want to meet to talk about these things, but you show up late. You don't, you're not present when you are here. Like, let's talk about this. Let's figure it out, right? So I'm digging. I'm trying to get there. Like just asking the hardcore questions. And sometimes I'm even breaking face. I'm like, no, seriously, like why are we here? Like I put on my mom hat. Why are we here? What are we doing? Like,
that's
please
it.
tell me.
Yes.
And I think me doing that, she realized that she couldn't game me, she couldn't play me. It was like, okay, I did hire this lady to do a job. She is like putting my feet to the fire. I got to put up or shut up.
Yeah.
And from then, since I kind of, I guess, broke face, or at least I got really serious with her, like, if you want change, you have to own it. I'm not going to play this game with you.
Yeah.
Then she said, okay, you're right. I'm not trying to play a game. It's just, these are just tough questions. I'll give you my undivided attention for 5 minutes. So we started with 5 minute chunks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's talk this 5 minutes. You need to take a water break, come back.
Yeah.
But we won't make any progress until you really basically confront some of your limiting beliefs, some of
Yeah.
these habits that you need to unlearn to move forward to even get to the next level. And she's like,
Yeah.
you're right. I know that I want a balance in my life and I got to stop running on the hamster wheel. I have to say no. I have to stand up for myself. But again, I had to have that
Yeah.
moment. But I let it, to be honest, in all fairness, she played me. I would say maybe it was two meetings, and I'm like, okay, the first meeting, okay,
Yeah.
first 30 minutes, all right. Then the second meeting was an hour, and I was like, this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
What have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, ran into the 18-year-old version of you, and you walked in the room and you had like a coffee table book and you handed it to that version and said, this is how your life turned out, would that young version believe it?
No, she would not believe it. She would be like, but it's like disbelief and belief at the same time.
Yeah.
Is there a word for that in the English language? I don't even know if there
We could
is.
come up with it. I'm sure we could hammer something out between those two. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
because that girl in Texas had so many goals and ambitions, and she found a way. She was very resourceful Like I met someone in high school that was like, "Hey, I went to this thing called college." I'm like, "What is this?
Yeah.
Tell me more. You're my new best friend."
Yeah.
Oh, you went to this, this info session after school. Oh, you studied this book at the library. Like that 18-year-old was so resourceful. She used every single opportunity. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm using every single opportunity, so resourceful to not only pour into myself, but to help others, especially to be in so far away from Texas.
Yeah,
So
for
that's awesome.
sure. So let me ask you this, of everything that you've done and more importantly evolved to at this point in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Is it crazy to say my clients? I think
No.
I'm so proud of the fact that I was able to make lemonade out of lemons, right? Like I
Yeah.
had this awesome career. Man, to climb, I was like one step below VP level, right? To tap out and to say I've had enough, and then to turn around and now to help, to coach, to educate, to encourage, to nurture other women or even other individuals who are kind of in that same bubble. It really it gives me purpose to all of those experiences that I had that I could have, looked at with a side eye, like, what were you thinking? It's like, no. It's a learning for all of us. That makes me happy. It
But
activates me.
but that seems to be true evolution because I think you hear sometimes these actors and these big time people that have a lot of money that say, you know what? It's not really, none of this is making me happy at the end of the day. Right?
Yeah.
You can have
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
this money, you can have all this access to things, but at the end of the day, there's an essence, there's things that you're doing, there's choices that you make that have to cultivate who you are, that have to make you happy. And if you're just climbing up a ladder and trying to make money all the time, for some people it might work, you're going to hit a wall, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely do. I don't know. Are you familiar with blue zones?
Yeah.
Have you heard of them?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So there was a blue zones, people who live to 100 plus
Uh-huh.
years, right? There was a study on what do all of these blue zones have in common. And it's so interesting. It was the most basic things, right? And what I noticed is I didn't even have those basic things as I was climbing the ladder. So it just makes me think like if you really want to live long and if you want to be happy, you need to have these basic things. Some of them are laughter. It was like you need to laugh and
Yeah.
socialize with people. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, that's so basic.
Yeah.
And what was I doing? I was at my computer, skipping lunch, not socializing because I had to get the next deliverable out. I'm not
Yeah.
laughing.
Yeah.
My friends are saying, hey, Sophia, let's go to happy hour. And I'm either showing up with an attitude or treating them like jerks.
Yeah.
Like, so yes, you're right with evolution. Like at some point, you do have to look in the mirror and say, how am I cultivating happiness?
Yeah.
Is it here or how do I bring it into my world?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of other things that were in those blue zones. That was an example, eating a well-balanced diet. I was
Yeah.
eating granola bars at my desk.
Right.
Like, come on. Like, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that that's necessarily the ruler for success and happiness, but it says a lot, right?
Right.
With everything going in the world,
Yeah.
that those are the key winnings, key findings,
Yeah,
key
for sure.
attributes.
Yeah, I think, yeah, because I think the big fear that I've seen in my life and in others is that you get to a point where you've lived this life and you've ran and you've done, and then you're like, what's going on? Like, where am I? Like, what have I done? I haven't taken care of myself. And when you hit that point, that's what you're talking about. It's just like cultivating the hobbies, cultivating the things that will make it fun, because you're going to get to a point where you're going to retire and have more time. And what are you going to
Yeah.
do if you have nothing to do? You
Right,
know?
right, right. And
Yeah.
I partially believe that the younger generations are supposed to help us do that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Like these youth, people like 18, 11, I mean, they have just such a fresh perspective
Yes.
on things that we take for granted every day. And it's like, wow, I need to step it up or I need to learn something new.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I appreciate the most, and I think it's underrated, is the software updates on your
Uh-huh.
smartphone
Yeah.
because it forces you to learn something new
100%. So well
whether you
said.
want it or not. Want it or
Totally.
not. Yeah, we
Totally. I
have to keep
totally get
learning.
it. Yeah, we do. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm funny. I am consistent and I'm loyal. And those things can get you in trouble if you aren't loyal to yourself,
Yeah.
consistently showing up for yourself and making yourself laugh.
Yeah.
So I typically do those for other people, and I spent the majority of my life doing that for other people, being loyal to a company, working there 10 years, making I was at Patrick Mahomes. I was shaking hands, kissing
Uh-huh.
babies. Hey guys, let's go to the water cooler, blah blah blah.
Uh-huh.
But I never really did that for myself. So
Yeah.
now I put the mirror back on myself. I'm intentionally selfish. I actually, at least on iPhones, I don't know about Droids, you can delay sending text messages to people, like send them later.
Okay.
I will do that for myself. I will send myself a text message at, I don't know, tomorrow at noon, like, hey, rock star, I
Yeah.
mean, you're killing it today. Look at you. And
That's
I'm like,
cool.
did I do that?
That,
Yes.
yeah. That, see, those are the little things that I didn't know about. There's little tricks, and it's part of upgrades and just doing things in a different way. But yeah, it's the constant evolution of learning and doing things and reinventing. So if anyone's ready for the next step, they want to reach out, they have questions, they want to hire you, any of the good business, where do they go?
I want them to follow me on my YouTube channel. It's at Gearing Together.
Okay.
I talk about so many things we need to unlearn, corporate, not in corporate, but just to help us recenter on who we are. So I think that's the first step. Just get more doses of me.
Yeah.
I'm
There
just
you
going to be
go.
selfish. There you go.
That's it. And I will put all these links in the show notes. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. Thank you for your light, your story. I really appreciate it.
Bye, Joe.
Best of luck with everything.